Saludos a toda la afición de Lucha Libre Online. Este que les habla es Michael Morales Torres, integrante del equipo de Lucha Libre Online. Y tenemos el privilegio de presentarles a nuestro invitado especial en la tarde de hoy, de Doha, Qatar para el mundo, pero en directo desde Kentucky, en Estados Unidos, mientras entrena para OVW. De Classy Ali, la superestrella de QPW, llega por primera vez a Lucha Libre Online. Ali, man, it is a pleasure to have you here. How are things going for you in the United States right now?
The pleasure is mine. It's been a very different experience. Qatar and the US are complete different culture-wise, environment-wise, but I've loved it so far. Very welcoming people, and it's been a fun experience.
Man, your career is different from any other people because you come from a country that pro wrestling, it's not, or it was not a priority when you started. I mean, people watch it, but it was not the top sport or something. So yeah, instead of playing football or cricket or basketball or baseball or any of those sports, why do you select pro wrestling to be your thing?
Well, those sports that you mentioned, I do play them in my free time with friends. But nice. Why did I pick them pro wrestling? Because it's something that was unique in our region. As you said, it didn't exist. I didn't even know it was going to exist. One day I visited a QPW Super Slam show. And then after that, when you're following the social media, suddenly it pops up. QPW Academy is popping up. I'm like, okay, this sounds like fun. So I go there because obviously everyone would love to be in the ring. Everyone would love to be on TV. I go there, take a couple of bumps, and I'm like, I don't think I'm coming back here again. But then I thought about it. I came back and got into the bumps, got into the wrestling business. And then we're here now, 3 years later in the United States.
Let me translate this to Spanish. Ali tiene una trayectoria un poquito diferente al resto de las personas. ¿Por qué motivo? Viene de un país en donde la lucha libre tal vez no es tan común. Él viene de Qatar. Y él dice, ok, todo inicia cuando yo fui a un show de QPW a Super Slam. Ahí yo, como él dice, ya yo hago mi tiempo libre de todos los deportes que mencionaste ahorita. Pero me llama la atención que de momento aparece cuando lo sigo un anuncio que dice la academia de QPW como escuela de lucha libre, y como que, ok, voy a intentar esto. Llega a la escuela de lucha libre o a la academia de QPW y dice, no creo que vuelva aquí. Así que 3 años después de ese momento está en Estados Unidos luchando y se quedó en esta industria. Why did you didn't want it to stay in QPW in the beginning? I mean, I've trained wrestling. I trained it for 2 years and it sucks, but what's your experience? Like, with the first time you fall into that mat, what was the first thing that went through your mind in that bump?
I had no clue. Like, okay, you see people falling in wrestling and they're taking the bumps, but you don't actually envisage yourself doing that. So when I walked in, literally it was the boss, Ali Al-Marafi. He was there and he was like, okay, put your arms together. And I was like, okay. And then there was someone behind me. I had no clue. He was like, 1, 2, 3, boom. And when you hit that mat for the first time, you feel like your back has come into your chest and everything has come out. Your head is ringing. Your breath is gone. It just feels like you're in a different world.
I'll explain this in Spanish. It was a similar experience for me. Él menciona que, ok, cuando él llega a la escuela de QPW, ¿por qué motivo él no sabía si quedarse en ella o si irse de la escuela? Sencillo. Ali menciona que, ok, estaba Ali Al-Marafi, que es el dueño de QPW. Le dice Ali a Classy Ali, ok, vas a poner tus manos de esta manera. Y cuando contemos 3, te vas a dejar caer. 1, 2, 3 y lo empujan. Cae en la espalda y dice, yo sentí que la espalda me pasó al pecho, me traspasó la vida. El dolor fue horrible. Obviamente, eso es parte de la industria de la lucha libre y su sufrimiento. So from experiencing that extreme pain and deciding to stay in the wrestling industry and make a name for yourself, how or when did you decide it was the moment to make your pro wrestling debut? Like, where did you do it? How was the experience?
After that, well, actually after taking that bump and after coming back for the first few 3-4 lessons, I traveled on holiday. I don't remember when. I think I was where, I think it was England, and I was watching these guys on the live Instagram of the training Ali Al-Marafi was posting, and I was like, there is no chance I'm going back. They're doing hectic stuff now, and then there's no way I see myself doing that. But then I did go back, I did try it out, and then it turned out it wasn't that bad. It was just initially the first few days you feel that pain and the bumps and stuff, but then you get used to it and you learn how to protect yourself. We trained for a few years, I think 1.5 or 2 years. And then Ali was like, okay, you guys seem like you know what you're doing. Let's throw you into a show situation. So he came up with this QPW Academy Challenge, which we've done a few of in Qatar, and we did it in September 2019. That was the debut outdoor show, very hot. We didn't expect it to be hot because we do stuff indoor, but then when you do it outdoor, your breath and your cardiovascular has to be completely different. So it was quite an experience. We did well. We did. It's on YouTube. The show, the debut went well. The crowd, from not knowing who we were to knowing who the heel is, knowing who the baby face is, cheering, booing. I feel like it was a success. And then after that, we followed it up with another Academy Challenge. And then, of course, we took part at the pre-show of Super Slam 2 before COVID hit, unfortunately.
Yeah, man, that sucks for everyone. Let me translate this. Él menciona que en el periodo de tiempo que él comienza a entrenar, estoy de vacaciones, en el tiempo fuera, y veo que Ali puso varios stories o varias publicaciones en vivo en Instagram de la academia, y es como que, déjame volver allá, regresa, entrena por 1 año y medio, y toma la decisión de, junto con Ali le dice, ok, ya estás listo, vamos a hacer algo, y hace un show de la academia de QPW. Siempre entrenó adentro todo el tiempo, y de momento, clase a Ali le tocó luchar outdoor, afuera, en Qatar, con el sol, con el calor. Él dice, el calor fue horrible, la condición vascular tuya tiene que estar a otro nivel cuando tú estás adentro versus cuando estás afuera, pero el público, como él dice, el público reaccionó bien, de no saber quién era el babyface y el heel, reaccionaron bien, aplaudían cuando tenían que aplaudir, le abucharon cuando tenían que abuchar, y de ahí posteriormente también le tocó en su show grande, que fue en el de Super Slam 2, que estuvo en el pre-show, hasta que pues lamentablemente ocurrió la pandemia. Before the pandemic hit, you mentioned that you wrestled in Super Slam 2. That was, to this day, the biggest show in Qatar's history. The crowd, the wrestlers that were involved, what do you recall of that night in your life? You can describe it step by step. Once you enter the arena, the wrestlers you saw backstage, the match, the ambience, everything.
So we actually entered the arena a few days before the show because we had to set up the ring. Okay. But just entering it and looking at it, there was like, I think 12,000 seats in the arena. Just looking at it and being like, okay, a few days later, I'm going to be performing here. From being in front of 200-300 people in attendance to possibly 12,000, it was just mind-blowing. And then on the day of the show, it just went by like this. Like, you were coming in, you saw wrestlers coming in, big wrestlers that obviously we watched in our childhood: Kevin Nash, Rob Van Dam, Khali, Alberto. There are so many of them. But when you're backstage with them, you don't see them as because you don't want to come up to and be like, oh, hi, I'm a fan. No, you're a pro wrestler as well now, so you want to show. So, and they treated you with respect. They didn't look at you like, hey, rookie. It was mutual respect. And actually, in the locker room, Rob Van Dam was my partner. Like, he was sitting right next to me, and I kept thinking, oh my God, Rob Van Dam. Like, I used to watch this guy team with Kane on Raw a couple of years ago in 2003 or 2004, and now suddenly he's sitting next to me in a locker room. And the matches were spectacular. Crowd reaction was spectacular. The night, it just went from, it was what time? I don't remember what time we started. 7 p.m. and suddenly it was 10 p.m. It just went boom. It was wow. I enjoyed it, definitely, and I was looking forward to the next one, but again,
pandemic,
COVID.
So let me translate this. Él menciona que, Super Slam 2, él tuvo la oportunidad de participar en ese evento, y días antes le tocó ir a montar el setting de la arena y el cuadrilátero, y de momento mira así, mira la silla. Aquí caben 12,000 personas. Yo pasé de estar en un show de 300 personas a 400 personas a posiblemente 12,000 personas, big setting. Uf. Entonces llega al camerino y se encuentra con tipos como Kevin Nash, Alberto del Río, The Great Khali, Rob Van Dam. Es como que entonces se siente en el camerino a cambiarse, a hacer sus cosas, y a su lado está Rob Van Dam, aquí al lado, su partner. Rob Van Dam, el tipo que él veía luchando haciendo equipo con Kane en el 2003, 2004, ahí estaba junto con él. Y él dice como que obviamente no quiero que la gente me vea como un fan, no quiero, siempre tratar de ser lo más serio posible, mantener la compostura, y te trataban con respeto, tú los tratabas con respeto. Obviamente la lucha fue buena, fue una experiencia completamente diferente, pero Super Slam 3 lamentablemente fue fue movida de fecha por el COVID. What can you say about Qatar's audience? Because at least I had the opportunity to see Super Slam 2 on Fight TV, and they were really, really, really into it. Like, they were really verbal about who they hated and who they liked. So, what's your experience with your crowd?
From what I see, it's a very young crowd. For them, it's very important to establish straight on who's the face, who's the heel, because when they know who the face is, they're gonna cheer. When they know who the heel is, they're gonna boo. From what I experienced, the boss Ali Al-Marafi was very smart, because he got a bit of what do you call it, wrestlers from different generations for everyone. So you had the older wrestlers like Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff, and then you had the wrestlers from my time, where there's Kali, Alberto, Rob Van Dam, and then you had the young wrestlers like Enzo, Eddie Edwards. So what he did was, everyone in the crowd had someone to attach to, everyone in the crowd had someone to boo to, and the crowd was on fire the entire night. So yes, it's a young crowd, but they need a bit of educating, and when they know what's going on, they're into it.
Él menciona que el público, obviamente es un público joven, pero la estrategia de Ali Al-Marafi fue bastante inteligente. Y él apeló a, ok, voy a traer el luchador para el fanático que sea de más edad, Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff. Voy a traer fanáticos para los que están creciendo entre los 20 y los 30, de Grey Khali, Rob Van Dam, o sea, luchadores para esas personas. Voy a traer luchadores para los más jóvenes, Enzo Amore, o Enzo ahora, Eddie Edwards y el resto de las personas. Saben lo que tienen que hacer, fanáticos saben cuándo tienen que aplaudir, saben cuándo tienen que abuchar, la experiencia es buena, pero básicamente está construyéndose la escena de lucha libre en Qatar, está en ese proceso. I also want to say something else in Spanish. QPW va a presentar Super Slam 3 o Super Slam 3 el sábado 26 de febrero del 2022. Va a ser en el Lucha Sports Arena en Doha, Qatar. 20,000 personas caben allí. Hay varias personas anunciadas. Bret the Hitman Hart, está Eric Bischoff, está Booker T, está Sting, y por primera vez en 22 años The Nation of Domination va a estar llegando a Super Slam 3. Para las personas que quieran ir directamente, una vez se ponga la información de boletos, vamos a ponerla aquí abajo. Va a ser en el Lucha Sports Arena en Doha, en Qatar, y para los que quieran verlo desde la casa, va a estar disponible a través de Fight TV. Todavía queda, pero estamos advirtiéndolo para que el 26 de febrero saquen su tiempo para ver el show que Ali Al-Marafi y QPW tienen para ustedes. I'm talking about QPW Super Slam 3. For the first time in 22 years, Nation of Domination is going to be together, man. D'Lo Brown, Mark Henry, Ron Simmons, The Godfather, Bret the Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Eric Bischoff, Sting, two-time Hall of Famer Booker T, and the list goes on and on and on. Sammy Guevara, Will Ospreay, Hiroshi Tanahashi. There are a lot of names over there. Among them, a hometown boy called Classy Ali. How do you feel being part of what is going to be Qatar's biggest event in its whole history?
Well, I've joined wrestling, as you asked before as well, to make history, because Qatar doesn't have a professional wrestler. The only professional wrestler that's come out of the Middle East or from the GCC is Mansoor in the WWE. So Qatar, alongside me, there's a couple other wrestlers, obviously, in the academy. There's Rage, there's Tito, there's Saad, and these guys, we're trying to be a part of history. And obviously this platform here is going to give us that part, as well as let us live that part of being a fan, because now we're seeing these stars in attendance. We're watching their shows, but they're behind with us as well. So we're being wrestlers and fans at the same time. And yes, it's going to be quite mind-boggling, especially when the time comes. Because of all the names you've mentioned. Again, as you can see, it's a lineup of guys that older people will attach to, and then there's guys that younger people will attach to. Again, it's put together very well thought out. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. February couldn't come faster.
Ali menciona que él ingresó a esta industria para hacer historia. No hay un luchador que haya salido de Qatar hasta el momento que él entró. El único de toda la península arábica es Mansoor, que está con WWE, y entiendo que Shadia Bezeizo también estuvo un tiempo, pero no luchó. Ella simplemente fue anunciadora. Pero Ali es el único en salir de Qatar. llega a hacer historia. Él dice, mira, yo no puedo esperar a que el momento llegue el 26 de febrero ya para poder estar ahí. Los luchadores fueron puestos bastante estratégicamente. Tienen luchadores para las personas de edad más avanzada o de edad mayor. Tienen luchadores para el público más joven, para el público intermedio. O sea que todo está puesto de manera estratégica para que todos disfruten un buen show de lucha libre y poder apelar a todos los públicos. Ali, let's take a plane and let's go to Louisville, Kentucky. From Doha, Qatar to Kentucky, you decided...
It's a connecting flight. It's a connecting flight. There is no direct flight to Kentucky.
No, there's nothing direct to Kentucky. New York, right? Or Texas?
I came in through Dallas, yes.
Yeah, the Dallas-Fort Worth. So you decided to pursue your dream, and you went to the United States to train better, to be trained by the best people available. And Al Snow is definitely one of the best trainers in the world. He's basically run Tough Enough for a lot of years. He trained a lot of wrestlers we all know now in the WWE, back then WWF. What motivated you to move to the United States to train with, of all people, Al Snow, who is a tough SOB?
Well, I did not know he was a tough SOB till I got here. One day, Ali Al-Marafi came up. He's like, would you be interested to go to the United States? He's like, QPW and OVW are coming up with some sort of partnership. Back then, I didn't think much of it. I was like, yeah, I'm excited. Let's do this. Like, he's like, we'll give you a chance. You can go and do your thing there. I was like, sure. But then when the time came closer, I was like, oh, no, I have to move across the other side of the world, far away from family. I've never done that, to pursue my dream. I went with it. It was at the start, it was tough to settle personally, not people wise. The people here have been very welcoming. I've been training with people that have been in the WWE, that are in Impact, that are in different promotions, and it's been a blast. It's been eye-opening because when you train with your fellow academy talent, you learn stuff, but you don't see it from the point of view of the professionals around the world. But when you come here, it's a whole different ball game. And I've been telling that to the guys back home. I'm like, it's a complete different ball game to what we've been doing. And hopefully when I come back, I will try to put as much of here there. But the experience has been humbling. And Al Snow, he actually is the owner. So he hasn't gotten the ring much, but the 2 times he did get into the ring with me, he gave some lessons that I will not forget. That when the golden bell rings, that's the first thing that comes to mind, what Al Snow said. And it's to do with how you position yourself in the ring, how you stand in the ring, how you stand out. And from that experience, I can see I've grown a lot. But I have 3 wonderful trainers, very experienced trainers in OVW. There is Cash Flow, who I received lovely chops from at a recent house show. There's Tony Gunn, and there is former WWE star Doug Basham as well. So they all bring their own expertise, and especially Doug. He whenever he's training you, he's telling you, if you were to make it to WWE, if you were to make it to AEW, this is how it would go. This is how you should react to certain situations, not only in the ring, but backstage as well. So the whole experience put together has been very worthwhile, and I've learned a lot. Like if I knew 5 out of 100 when I left Qatar, now I probably know, let's say, 70 out of 100. There's still more to learn, but I've got a lot into it in the past 2 months.
That's 2-time WWE Tag Team Champion Doug Basham. Like,
yes,
you're being trained by a great guy. Let me translate this to Spanish. Él dice, bueno, Ali Al-Marafi se me acerca, dueño de QPW, le dice, mira, hay una alianza entre OVW y QPW. ¿Te gustaría ir a Estados Unidos a entrenar? Rápido. Sí, la respuesta es sí, quiero ir, vamos para allá, let's go. Cuando de momento se pone a pensar, yo nunca había estado tan lejos de mi familia, tanto tiempo, al otro lado del mundo. Vamos, está bien. De momento llega allá y se topa con que donde va a estar entrenando OVW, la empresa de Al Snow. Aquí hay gente de Impact. Aquí hay gente que está en AEW. Aquí hay gente que está en todas las empresas grandes. ¿Qué caramba hago yo aquí? Y le toca, como dice, cuando Al Snow no se mete mucho al cuadrilátero. Él deja que sus muchachos entrenen, entre ellos Doug Basham, ex campeón en pareja de la WWE. Y él dice las 2 veces que Al Snow se metió un cuadrilátero conmigo, aprendido lecciones valiosas de vida, porque Al Snow es bastante fuerte. Y una vez suena la campana, hay que tener esa mentalidad, esa seriedad de ir enfocado completamente a comerse el mundo, básicamente. Cuando salí de Qatar, sabía 5 de 500, ahora sé 17 de 500, o sea, sé el triple de lo que sabía. Todavía me falta mucho por seguir aprendiendo de la industria, o sea, esa humildad está excelente, pero él dice eso, que él siente que todavía le falta por aprender. Once you arrive to your house, prior, if we can say this story, prior to the interview, we were talking a little bit, and once you arrive to what's going to be your home in the United States for 3 months, you were washing the dishes, and suddenly you look and hey, my roommate is former WWE superstar and current Impact Wrestling superstar Mahabali Shera. What the heck was that, man?
I obviously didn't show it at that time, but I was very surprised, very anxious as well, because I'm living in the house, and while I was going to the United States, I was watching Impact on the plane. So literally, I was watching this guy less than 24 hours away on my laptop screen in the airplane, and then suddenly I see him in his tank top, like in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, okay. I heard one of the guys, his name is Damone. He's also a wrestler. He was mentioning in the car something about, you need to tell Shira to move his stuff in the fridge, so there's stuff for your stuff in the fridge. And I didn't realize who he was mentioning until I saw Shira. And I was like, wow, very intimidated. I was like, oh, the big guy from Impact is living in the same house. With time, I found out that the entire house I'm living in is a wrestle. It's actually called Wrestle House, and everyone in the house is a wrestler. They're all contracted to OVW. A bunch of lovely guys. It's very easy to be living with them. There's no issues. But specifically Shira, I see him a lot in the house. Lovely guy. We have a lot of banter, and being from he's from India, and my mother's from India, so we speak in Hindi as well. We communicate, and this helps. Sometimes there's been training sessions where we put stuff together while we're speaking in Hindi, whilst Doug Basham is like, what are you guys saying? No one can understand, obviously, because it's just between us. But yeah, he's been very helpful, lovely guy, and I enjoy living at the Wrestle House.
Awesome, I'll translate this. Cuando él se está yendo a Estados Unidos, él estaba viendo una lucha de Mahabali Shera en Impact. Estaba viendo Impact en su laptop. Antes de llegar, llega, se monta en el vehículo cuando lo recogen. Mira, tienes que decirle a Shera que mueva un poquito las cosas en la nevera, en el refrigerador, para que puedas poner tus cosas también y pues tengas espacio. No sabía de quién diablos estaba hablando. Como que no le presté mucha atención. Cuando llega a la casa, está lavando platos, lo suyo después de comer. Mahabali Shera está ahí. Mahabali Shera vive con él. O sea, es su roommate. Viven en una casa varios luchadores que se llaman Wrestle House, literalmente todos conectados a OVW de alguna manera. Él dice, mira, mi familia materna, específicamente mi mamá, es de India. Ella habla hindi, yo también hablo hindi y nos comunicamos mutuamente, crearon una bonita amistad en este momento. Y incluso cuando están muchas veces entrenando, el coach le dice como que ellos empiezan a hablar en hindi y ellos, pero ¿qué diablos están diciendo? No los entiendo. Estamos hablando algo entre nosotros dos acá y chistes y las cosas, pero entonces la relación es buena. Obviamente es intimidante al principio encontrarte un tipo que mide como 6'7", 6'8", 300 libras. O sea, he's a big dude. So es un poquito difícil para cualquiera. Let's go to OVW. OVW was the former developmental territory for WWE. Dave Batista, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin. And if we continue with the list, those are all former OVW superstars. You're training and wrestling in the same place as the biggest stars of this industry, period. So to you, not the wrestler, not the wrestling fan, but the human that left his family away in Qatar for a while to start pursuing this dream until he achieves it. How does it feel to be in the same company that was the one that created all these big superstars?
It's unreal. Let's put it that way. Like when you go backstage, there is a sitting area for the wrestlers, and the wall is filled with pictures of every single wrestler that has come out of OVW and gone into the WWE. From the ones you've mentioned, and there are other ones like Melina, Johnny Nitro, Mercury, Boogeyman, the Basham brothers. It just keeps going on. There are so many wrestlers that have come out of that place that there are photos that are stacked up as well. There's no space to put them on the wall. But it's just been a very unreal experience, from just wanting to see, oh, what is this QPW Academy in Qatar? Let's just go into the ring. I want to go in the ring. I want to climb on the top rope. From going there to being in the place, as you mentioned, that's been the standout place that's brought out all the biggest stars of wrestling who have gone on to Hollywood. It's just a very humbling experience, and I just love the opportunity that I've been given to be here as a human.
Él menciona que obviamente se siente, cualquiera le entra la humildad al ver personas. De momento llega el camerino de OVW, está el área de cambiarse y hay una pared llena de fotos de todos los exalumnos, entre ellos Melina, Johnny Nitro, Boogeyman, los Basham Brothers, todos los que mencioné anteriormente. Y es como él dice, es irreal. Yo no puedo creer que yo esté aquí, de pasar a treparme. Vamos a ver cómo se siente treparse la tercera cuerda de la academia de QPW, a moverte allá. Simplemente es mind-blowing. You wrestle and had the opportunity to make your pro wrestling debut in the United States with OVW. What was the thing that was going through your head all the time from the moment you went out of that curtain until you went back?
The first day I didn't actually know that I'll be wrestling before, like half an hour before I went out. Elsno did text me the day before and said, get your gear, kid. And I was like, okay. I thought it was for a promo, because there was supposed to be a promo that I was supposed to be doing. And then suddenly Damon, one of the guys who lives at the Wrestle House, he was like, oh, we're going on dark third match. I was like, what? He's like, don't worry, I'll walk you through it. So we planned a couple of things, but it was very, like, in my mind now, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to be making my debut. I am not ready for this at all. I walked through the curtains. The crowd's quite welcoming, especially for a guy they don't know. The match went well. It was a quick match, but just to be out there and just to hear your music playing once again, and then in front of an American crowd, be in the ring where we're training. Now suddenly the lights are on and it's a show. It was a nervous experience. Like I was very nervous for the first time being out, even though I've been out in Qatar and I'm so confident and so chill, but here it was very nervous. So from the time I went out till the time I came back, I was just like, I want this to be over with. I want to go back. I don't want to be here. And it showed in the match as well. Like my face was always constantly like looking towards the mat. I wasn't classy Ali that I usually do. So it was a different situation, because the first time I went out in Qatar, out of the curtains, I had my family and friends there. So even though I was nervous, it took away, because there's people that's around me all the time. But here, when I came out, it's faces that I've never seen. So yeah, it was a surreal experience, but I've learned from that now.
I'll translate this. Él menciona que en su debut en OVW no sabía que iba a debutar. Al Snow agarra el teléfono y lo llama y le dice, mira, te necesito acá. Al Snow le dice, we need you. Necesitamos acá, you're going to wrestle. Es como que no estoy listo. I'm not ready at all. But let's do it. Vamos a hacerlo. Llega allí, tiene el momento de debutar y obviamente se sentía bien intimidado. No es el mismo Classy Ali que veían en Qatar. Se sentía asustado, público nuevo, caras distintas. Por lo menos cuando él debuta en QPW, su familia estaba allí viéndolo. Pero acá no había nadie. Todo era distinto. Fueron muy welcoming. Los fanáticos le dieron la bienvenida, lo trataron de maravilla. Y fue parte de ese proceso en donde él tuvo que aprender, le tocó aprender. I also want to say something else in Spanish. Pueden seguir a Classy Ali en todas las redes sociales, pero particularmente en Instagram como The Classy Ali en Instagram, y en Twitter como @36ali. O sea, lo vamos a poner acá abajo, es el número 3, 6 letras A de Ali. Y lo vamos a encontrar de todas maneras en la descripción aquí abajo. También tiene su mercancía disponible en wrestlemerchcentral.com. Ahí está disponible en la página de QPW, QPW Wrestling. Ahí la van a encontrar. Man, before we go to our last question, I wanted to thank you so much, for your time and for sharing your story with us. It is simply impressive. last but not least, what can we expect from the Classy Ali in the United States?
I'm actually here. I've done 4 shows now. 4 times I've been in the ring, 2 house shows, 2 dark matches. Al has said that I'll be on TV on Thursday for my TV debut. But unfortunately, after that, I do have to head back home because it's been 2.5 months due to commitments back home. But I'm already looking forward to the next time I will be coming back to the United States. And just also looking forward to, I think from September onwards, we're going to be going back to having our monthly shows in Qatar. I don't know how he's planned it. I don't know if he's planned it in like Impact, if it's tapings in 1 day or in 2 days, or if it's just the monthly special. I don't know the specifics, but I'm looking back to get in front of the hometown crowd back home with all these new skills that I've acquired from OVW. So yes, very exciting times ahead.
Ali nos menciona que ya han pasado casi 2 meses y medio desde que está en Estados Unidos por compromisos en su hogar, tiene que regresar. Ya va a hacer su debut televisivo este jueves con la empresa OVW, le toca, una empresa buenísima, va a estar debutando para televisión, va a estar regresando a Qatar posterior a eso, dice, vamos a regresar a los tapings, no sé qué Ali tiene pensado, si van a hacer muchos en un solo día o 2 días, o van a hacerlo una vez al mes, así de manera general, pero van a estar regresando al público de Qatar. Está emocionado de regresar a Qatar para mostrar lo que aprendió acá, básicamente mostrarle a la gente quién es The Classy Ali y qué es lo que puede The Classy Ali ofrecerle a la industria de la lucha libre. Man, as mentioned, honored to have you here as our guest. Always wishing you success in both your career and your personal life. And let's hope to see more of the Classy Ali soon, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate to have this platform to get my story out as in detail as I could. Thank you so much to you and the viewers for watching. And hopefully you'll be watching much more in the future.
That's how it happens that way, man. And thank you. Let's wrap this up in Spanish. Este fue The Classy Ali de Qatar, de QPW y de OVW para el mundo, para la lucha libre online, la marca número 1 de Pro Wrestling y Combat Sports en español.